if you don't mind. I'll be right back.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another round of My Patriot Report Live. I am Ritwan Hill, the bridge between the next generation and federal contracting. And with me, I have Mr. Walter Cotton III. For individuals who don't know who Mr. Cotton is, this is the individual who is the first service-disabled veteran-owned small business national spokesperson, the individual responsible for help moving the service-disabled veteran contracting needle from 750 million to well past north of 19 billion, and the individual who's responsible for co-authoring the legislation that created what we know as the SBA Mentor Protege Program. Mr. Cotton, how you doing today, man?
I am doing well, and I appreciate that introduction, but I do want to make one slight correction, and that is that my contribution to SBA's Mentor Protege Program was to create the all small business Mentor Protege Program. SBA historically had a Mentor Protege Program that was available for 8A participants only. My contribution to that legislation expanded that availability to all small businesses. But my brother from another mother, I am doing well. How are you?
Man, I'm not well. I am, and it's because I was looking at everything that was going on in the world, and it kind of frustrated me a little bit, right? So I'm seeing things that's going on with ICE agents in Minnesota, right? Individual lost his life, and from, not to be political, but from what I'm seeing on the video, the ICE agent took a weapon from him, and because he had his finger in the trigger and he negligent discharge, they took that as the gentleman was shooting and innocent life was taken. And and what I think.
So wait a second now. I want to just see if we got the same viewpoint on that event. So you're talking about the VA nurse in Minneapolis that was summarily executed by ICE agents in Minneapolis. That's the event that you're talking about, right?
Yes,
Let's
sir.
call it what it is, right? If we're gonna have a discussion about these things, we got to rightly define them as what they were, because based on what I saw, a innocent U.S. citizen was taken to the ground, disarmed, and shot on the ground. That's the one you're talking about? Okay, yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, and he, like you said, he was within his right, Second Amendment right to bear arms. He was an American citizen. He wasn't a felon. He wasn't doing anything wrong. And what I was going to say is, what I first thought about was in the military, they taught us not to put our finger in the trigger unless we're about to, shoot something. So my question is, what are the training mechanisms that they are going through? Because they've been misidentifying people. If they look like a foreigner, they're considering them an immigrant. They are, they are being nervous on there. They're not properly trained. So do you know if they have a proper training, proper like UCMJ that they have to go through? Is this something that they have to go through and rules that they have to follow?
Well, I'm not the kind of guy that likes to walk around dealing with symptom management.
Yeah.
Right. The poor response to a traumatic situation is obviously the result of one who wasn't properly prepared, who wasn't properly trained. What I like to do is I like to go down to the root of the issue. Right. I like to go down to the root of the issue. And as you squeeze the fruit that comes from that root, what's in it, what comes out tells you what's there. And so in this particular instance or situation, we got some strange fruits that are growing on the tree, right? When you have all of these efforts that, are subtle nudges, subtle pushes against the Constitution of these United States of America. And what you're talking about here, in my humble opinion, has constitutionality written all over it. And it's written all over it from the perspective of one Noah Webster, the gentleman who wrote the Webster Dictionary, once suggested that one of the reasons that he penned the dictionary is so that they could not change the Constitution by changing the definition of words. Mm-hmm. Now, based on my understanding of the Constitution, we, the people, have the right to bear arms. I think it's a Second Amendment protection, if I'm not mistaken. And the Second Amendment does not say that you can bear arms in the living room on your back porch, but not in a public square. That you can bear arms in this place, but not that place. And so the language that I'm hearing coming out of this administration about this particular citizen who was within his rights, bearing arms, being executed, folks, we got to take a good close look at language that's coming out of a government that says the citizens should not be armed, because it was our ability to be armed in the past that gave our forefathers the ability to give us the constitutional republic that we enjoy right now. And so in the last Patriot report, I suggested that I was going to start delivering the guide to avoiding Civil War 2.0. And it starts right here and right now by drawing a line in the sand and grabbing the power of we the people to say, hold on a second, not on my watch.
Absolutely. And I was going to ask you about that, because what it looks like now, it seems so, there's a heat map out there of, of ICE activity, and Minnesota's just they're like in the middle of the heat map in regards to the activity, but it seems like it's a hyper focus on Minnesota. And we know that, the administration got beef with the governor because of the fraud and all that, but it does seem like all this activity in all 50 states with ICE can definitely is leading to a more eventful event, meaning it could lead to riots, protests, worse.
Yeah, there is a heat map of political idiocy underway right now, right? You've got the left, playing their idiocy against the right's idiocy, right? And what is resulting is the first branch of government is waking up and saying, you idiots need to sit down and start doing your job. And so the fourth branch of government, we talked about that during the first branch of government is starting to raise its head, right? Mm-hmm. Right. We, the people, are coming out and saying, hold on a second, dude, the banana in the tailpipe isn't working anymore, right? A lie is a lie is a lie. No matter how many different ways you say a lie, it doesn't become factual. And you can't redefine things to fit your scenario, right? And so the point that you were making a little bit earlier about, the creation of one's own internal police force. Did I say that out loud? And equipping that police force to go in and terrorize, militarize cities, and is wrong. That's not the right thing to do, right? And if nobody else is willing to say it, I'm gonna say it, right? We, the people, have the right to occupy the cities within these United States without being terrorized by a force from the federal government. We fought against that when we established the Declaration of Independence. And this year, being the 250th anniversary of these United States, I'm going to tell you in one full and deep-throated voice, we are not going to stand for that shit again.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's ridiculous. It's we definitely, and it really ultimately comes down to us standing up and saying something, right? I mean, that's what we the people, we have to say something because we're the ones being attacked. Everybody that's higher up, they're just looking down, and it seems like because this energy of DEI, immigration, and getting rid of all of that, it seems like they're just under that protection of that administration because it's what they want. So they're just turning that blind eye and not even
reaching across the aisle to my brothers from another mother. I and a number of other people that are coming from the position that I'm operating from recognize that an error doesn't become a mistake unless you don't correct it, right? And I have been seduced by the cult of personality in my lifetime once or twice, right, before as well. But once you wake up and realize that it's a duck, right? Looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, right? Sounds like a duck. It's doing ducky things. It's a duck, right? You have to make the mid-course adjustment necessary to correct the error, not let the error become a mistake. And ironically, in that little soliloquy, I was able to use the term mid-course because we have a midterm election that is in front of we the people, right? And this is our opportunity to send one full, clear message to the powers that be that we're not going to put up with that. We're not going to take these shenanigans. And so I am encouraging, dare I say, organizing a We the People movement in every city and state in these United States of America that is hyper-focused on identifying who the buffoons are and getting them buffoons out of here. They got to go now because if they don't, right, they're going to lead us into, if not World War III, which we don't need. Come on, we're mature enough people at this particular point. We've raised to a level of consciousness to recognize that nobody wins in war, right? I think Gil Scott-Heron says it best when he says peace is not the absence of war, it's the absence of the rumors of war and the threats of war and the preparation for war. So we've matured to the point where we're not looking at another world war. And oh, by the way, I like my fellow Americans. I was talking to my wife about that just the other day. I like my neighbors. I like the United States that we have the way we have it right now. This a tyrannical environment that's being created, where my fellow Americans, my future citizens are afraid to walk the streets. That's not an America that I signed up for. That's not an America that I can support. That's not an America that you should promote. So we need to go through the process of voting these fools out. We need to go through the process of putting America on the trajectory and the arc of performance to becoming that kinder, gentler nation that we've always been known as. We the people have the right and the ability to do that. And you know what? We don't need to see no Epstein files to prove that. We don't need Wolf Blitzer. We don't need Keanu Reeves. We don't need anybody to give us that right. That was an inalienable right that we acquired for being a citizen of these United States, whether born or achieved. So right now is the time that we need to wake up and do the things that we need to preserve the status quo, right? I want America to be better. I want it to be the best nation in the world. But quite candidly, look around, folks. Can't get a whole lot better than this, right? Or go to Iraq and look around, folks. Go to Iran and look around, folks, right? The conveniences, the freedoms the ability to, go down to the corner convenience store, and it be stocked with the things that you need are all a part of the fabric of the things that make America worth preserving. So I'm going to encourage every true patriot that's within the sound of my voice to smell what I'm cooking, to pick up what I'm putting down. It's time for us to wake up and say, hold on a second, right? You may get some of them some of the time, but you didn't get me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now, on a light, well, I won't say on a lighter note because this is crazy too. The audit, this audit season we in. So it was at the Department of Defense Secretary, Mr. Hegseth. He initially was saying that it was going to be a audit within the DoD for 8A contracts over 20 million. Then he threw in, we'll look at stuff under 20 million as well. But now they're doing a full scale audit of all contracts for over 20 million for all small business set asides. Is this really about if it's mission, if the contracts are mission essential, or if it's fraud, waste, and abuse, or is this just seem like a discombobulation of small businesses? Because from my perspective, it looks like that they're just looking to discombobulate small businesses and being able to make it less likely for the middle class to be able to rise up. That's what it seems like to me. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh man, that's heavy. That's heavy. I mean, there's all of this talk about the K-shaped economy, right? And what you're talking about suggests that there may be an underlying strategy that's feeding into creating a broader separation between the haves and the have-nots, so that wow, brah, I almost hesitate to step into that arena because it's ugly to suggest that you have a few wealthy people at the top that are prepared to sacrifice the masses in the middle for their own personal comfort. I'm hard to believe. I'm hard pressed, if you will, to believe that that may be the case.
Mm-hmm.
But if it looks like a duck, if it quacks like a duck, swims like a duck, it's a duck. And so we have a problem right now where systems are being put in place so that the expansion of the underclass is okay. It's agreed to. It's sanctioned, and we the people have to see that mechanism in place, and we have to stop it. We absolutely have to stop it. I mean, we've got some questions about the utilization of. I don't want to just call them tariffs. I want to call them taxes of varices or whatever, because they're just another form of taxation. Right. That's what this, political tool that we're using, that just another form of taxation. Right. History is replete with what the outcome is going to be from this particular action. So we don't have to wait to see the end of that. We can stop that kind of activity right now. You are going to get this face put on a milk carton.
We're not trying to do that. Definitely not. We're definitely not trying to do that.
But I have no problem standing up and telling the truth to the American people, right? I have no problem telling the government contracting powers that be and stakeholders the fact that you have the power to resist this bullshit that they're asking you to participate in, especially the stuff that is illegal, that's putting you and your family in harm's way. And it's your responsibility to study yourself approved, right? Not wake up one day in a court of law and say, Your Honor, please don't take the baby's bed, right? You have to study yourself approved and recognize when your boss or your boss's boss has asked you to do something that is in violation of the Geneva Convention, right? Or in violation of 42 USC 1986. I keep whispering that out there because I want my 1102s, I want my contracting officers to read that, right? 42 USC 1986, right? This whole thing that Mr. Hill is talking about in terms of what they're doing in the contracting area to centralize contracts under the federal government's purchasing agent, from my perspective, only increases the ability to have rack and pinion steering on fraud, waste, and abuse, control, and graft, right? Because if you centralize $500 billion worth of annual spending, right, you can do a whole lot with just one belly button to push, right? So notwithstanding that being a concern, right, having all of that buying power, all of that spending pushed under one mechanism creates selection power. And so we will select suppliers that create these organizations that are not just too big to fail, they're too big to manage. And therefore, we have price power control in their hands. So there are a lot of reasons why, right? You want to slow down, put your television remote down, right? And take a good close look at these policies and agendas that they are sending your way, right? You know, I mean, I think that the Make America Great slogan sounded good, but we need to take a good close look at that, right? Because America was already great. So if you're making America greater than it is, you're taking it back to something that it once was. And the question that we, the people, have to answer is that an America that we want, right? Is that an America where we don't welcome our friends and neighbors, right? Is that an America where we are bully to the world? Is that an America where we are persona non grata because we're seen as not deal viable, because we'll always chicken out? We, the people, own the right to make that determination. And I'm asking you to join me as we reclaim our time, reclaim our power, take our authority back.
Okay, with them doing this audit on all small businesses for DOD, does it make sense for small businesses to be looking at other agencies, or is it just it's going to pretty much be a trickle down effect where it's going to hit every agency? So there's really no avoiding this. They just need to be as prepared as they can be.
Well, I can't really speak about tomorrow. What I want to speak about is what's transactionally happening right now. And what's transactionally happening right now is a disruption in requirements, right? These requirements that are being suspended, these requirements that are being taken away because the contractor is being disbarred, that's making the federal government system less stable, right? The enemy isn't always coming at you from without, right? The Constitution says, you know, even if the enemy is coming from within. So these moves, if you will, right, are putting our agency stakeholders, we're talking about our program managers, in a very challenged position, especially if these are 8A contracts that grew to other than small business size, and that contractor got suspended. What does that program manager do with that contract? Because the FAR Council recently said you can take that requirement out of the 8A program, but you got to put it with one of the existing socioeconomic programs, right? If you award it to a big business outside of that program, you're guaranteed to have a protest, right? That's going to derail and stymie the system, right? So you're going to have to be looking for a bigger small business that is within the allowable preference category. That is the service disabled veteran business community. And it's particularly those that have been forward leaning enough to employ the cotton method and become bigger small businesses. We're going to introduce you guys to one in a couple of days. Her name is Ramona McCaw. I'm gonna let the cat out of the bag, right? She owns a company called 3DMC. She won a seat on the $151 billion NDAA Shield contract. She's about to go down into Huntsville, Alabama, and blow up. So we're going to introduce you to her.
Absolutely. Stay tuned. And if you would like to be like Mrs. McCall, what you need to do is join the Elite SDVOSB network. Be a part of this $50 billion movement that Mr. Cotton is bringing to Florida, where the palm trees and the sun shine. And, you need to be a part of that wealth transfer, or you risk being left behind and being obsolete. And I mean, that's just as simple as I can put it.
For real though, for real.
And on that note, guys, I don't think nothing more need to be said. Time to take action. Stop standing up behind the crowd and waiting for things to happen, or stop being bullied. It's time to take actions, and we're giving you the direction to take your actions. And only thing you got to do is follow the leaders. I'm Retwan Hill, and that is the Mr. Walter Cotton III. Until next time, guys, we are out.